All right, we are live with tonight's post-episode discussion. This was a fully loaded episode, in my opinion. Sounded to me like we got more couples headed towards an end, and then one couple which is doing great and really getting almost no airtime whatsoever. As always, I just like to go through each of the couples as we do our discussions here. Oh, just let me double check, make sure I don't have echoing audio. I think we're good on that front. I usually like to go through and talk about each couple one at a time and what they're going through. But before we get into that, I just want to say, where are the experts? So many of these couples are going through situations and moments where having an expert, having a professional to talk to would greatly help them. And the experts are just nowhere to be found. Like, it looks like next week we get to see Dr. Pepper for, I think, the first time this season. It's episode 13, and Dr. Pepper's going to be making her first appearance. When we get the four guys sitting together on the couch and everyone is looking to Vincent and Ryan for relationship advice, when they're just struggling through their own relationships, it's just not fair. It's not fair to those guys. It's not fair to Eric and Jacob, who are looking to get advice to help them in their marriage. That's not what they need. They need to speak to professionals. They need to speak to the experts, and part of this experience is that they're supposed to be getting that help from the experts. The experts match these people. The experts are supposed to be there to help them get through all of their hurdles, but instead, nowhere to be found. All right, that's enough for my little preamble. Let's jump into our first couple of the night. And this is going to be a short and sweet one, which is shocking because it's Paige and Chris. I'm just sitting there all episode long thinking to myself, please don't bring back Chris. Please don't bring back Chris. Every time Paige pops up on the screen, I'm like, please don't bring back Chris. Please don't bring back Chris. And it honestly, just getting those moments with Paige, seeing Paige actually vent about the situation, totally decompress, and now I finally, for the first time, actually am starting to believe that Paige is done with Chris, that she is over this relationship, and it's good. Later in the episode, we do get some Chris time. One moment for him to show up and tell us that he hates dogs, and then the next, a little sit down with him and his mom, and I quite enjoyed watching Chris's mom sit there, not taking any of his BS. Like, she just knew. You could just tell by the way she's looking at him, the way that she's interacting with him, that she knows he's full of crap, and she doesn't take it for 1 minute. Chris is trying to play that woe is me card, and I very much appreciated his mom not buying it for a minute. All right, now moving on to what could be our new headline couple for the rest of the season, and that is Eric and Virginia. As we've gotten deeper into the season, I've just absolutely started to loathe Eric. I just cannot stand him anymore, and he is beyond clueless. For someone who's this relationship expert and knows all these things about marriage, he is absolutely clueless. We open their night together with Eric being condescending to Virginia once again. Like, that's all he knows how to do is speak down to her and be controlling. Like, that's what he thinks his role in the relationship is going to be. And if he continues that, he's going to end up with his second divorce. Yeah, I totally agree. Sunday, I cannot stand this man. He's just too much. Like, he needs to learn how to speak to other people. Even seeing him with the guys at the end of the episode, like when he goes looking for someone to agree with him, he's like shaking Ryan. He's like, hey, you know what I'm talking about. And like forcing him to agree with him. It's like if you don't agree with me, like it's ridiculous. And when we got into that big fight tonight, if Virginia is feeling the way that she's feeling, and she is, like we all see that she is, she should leave that man. You should not be in a marriage where you're still supposed to be really in the honeymoon phase of your marriage. You've only been together a month, and he's driving you to such extremes. And especially doesn't help when they're talking. Virginia is clearly upset. Virginia's clearly having some anxiety issues, and there's Eric sitting there just poking and poking and poking and prodding, and then, oh, I don't know why she got mad. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why she got upset. You are the problem, Eric. You are the reason that she got upset. You know, they start talking about the dogs, and Eric says, hey, don't you think it's funny that our two dogs are a total reflection of who we are as people? And then 2 sentences later, Eric's saying basically how much he hates the dog and all the problems with Virginia's dog. Just ridiculous. I'm sounding muffled. That's not good. I should be sounding good. Everything was looking good on my end beforehand, but yeah, I'm not sure that I can fix that at this point without totally ending the stream. I'm just going to power through. Hopefully the sound improves as we go here. Yeah, for him to basically say that you're exactly like your dog and I hate your dog. Like, how's that good for the relationship? It's terrible. And then we also got some nice clips of seeing how Eric treats Virginia off camera. You know, we got 2 clips, and he was even worse off camera than he was on camera. He's totally clueless. He's 100% the problem with the relationship. You know, it's even gotten to the point where Virginia's starting to blame herself for, you know, being emotional, and it's like Eric is causing all of that. It's not Virginia being emotional. That's Eric intentionally aggravating Virginia to make her emotional. It's absolutely ridiculous, and yeah, let's move on. Brianna and Vincent, they're kind of just getting shoveled to the background while all the other couples implode. You know, we aren't seeing anything of them. Like, what did we get from Brianna and Vincent tonight? Most of their camera time was with other people. The double date with Haley and Jacob, where they're really just talking about Haley and Jacob's relationship. You know, all the girls' time with Brianna, all the guys' time with Vincent, and that's primarily what we see. The one little clip of them, they go for a bike ride. They go for a bike ride where, you know, they can barely talk to each other because they're riding bikes, and that's it. And I kind of just feel that they're really just getting shuffled to the side while everyone else implodes. Next up, Haley and Jacob. I really thought they were done last week. I was living my life like Haley and Jacob were no longer a thing. And then we start this episode, and there they are sitting together. There they are sitting together, still going through this. To me, Jacob's checked out. Like, you could tell he was just a bad partner all episode long. He wasn't communicating. He wasn't really interacting. What he did for interactions was very, very minor. And overall, he was just given nothing to Haley. And that, to me, is a sign he's done. He is checked out. He's over this relationship and moving on with his life. But until then, he still has 4 more weeks of being married, and he's going to stay married. That's my feeling of where they're at. You know, they're trying to say that, oh, we're going to do this reset. No, there's no reset that is going to work for these two. It's not possible. They're just in a terrible spot, and I just don't think they have enough time to possibly work things out. At this point, they would need a married at first sight miracle in order for them to stay together. You know, they did have the cute date with the go-karts. Um, Haley, it even looked like she actually smiled at one point, but like they're just a bad match. There's no other way around it. They're just two people that are not good together, and no way they would have been good together. So that's it for Haley and Jacob. And lastly, we have Clara and Ryan, and it looks like this relationship is ready to come to a head. You know, we all season long, it's been sex, 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 sex. Clara wants to have sex. Ryan doesn't want to have sex. And, you know, we've gotten hints that they're doing other things. And then tonight, Clara very explicitly said that she's getting him off every single night. And she's getting nothing in return, which really leaves me wondering, like, why aren't they having sex? If they're doing everything but penetration, what's the difference? What is the difference? Like, if you're going that far, having sex is not really any further, in my opinion. There's no sanctity to it because they're already married. You know, he's not saving himself for marriage. He's already married. And, you know, we hear Ryan say how great they are, how wonderful they're doing, how they're progressing, and you can just see the frustration all over Clara's face. You know, Ryan's trying to say trust is sexy, and when he gets that trust is sexy shirt on, that's going to mean that he's ready, or he's close to being ready. And you can see that Clara like lit up at that moment, and then the next like 5 minutes, Ryan just starts rambling about all this random stuff, trust and this and that and dogs and everything. And you could just see he's just digging himself a hole. Like he was in a good spot. He took the conversation to a good spot. And then, like, where did he go? And you could just see Clara just immediately go back to being sexually frustrated. She thought there was light at the end of the tunnel, but turns out there was not. You know, it's really tough to have any positivity for any of these couples outside of Rihanna and Vincent at this point. They're the couple I was most excited about at the start. You know, then we started to see Vincent's temper rise up, and what was gonna go on there. But since then, they've just been like this cute little couple, and they seem great together. And they're saying that they're a perfect match and happy as can be. They're saying "I love yous," and all the other four couples are really totally headed towards disaster. I'd say the only couple that has a chance at redemption is Ryan and Clara. But Ryan just at this point needs to have sex with her. You know, I'm very much a person who preaches that you need to take the speed of the person who is going the slowest, moving the slowest sexually. You need to go at that person's pace. But the Ryan Clara situation is just getting too ridiculous. And, you know, like it's getting to a point where Clara needs to just be absolutely point blank with Ryan, say, hey, we need to have sex. If we don't have sex before decision day, I'm saying no, because I'm not staying with someone who's not willing to have sex with me. Yeah, a lot of hope for Virginia and Eric tonight. Tonight they would make it. You know, it kind of turned at the end of the episode a little bit, but like what we saw with them at the start of the episode, why would they stay together? Like Virginia was miserable. She didn't feel safe. She didn't feel comfortable. And like even previous weeks when they're talking about living together, and Virginia's saying, I wouldn't feel comfortable living at your apartment. It would make me feel uncomfortable. That's a very, very bad sign. You know, they should probably, to my opinion, probably shouldn't be at the point in the relationship where they're saying, I love yous, when they don't even want to live together. I don't like about Ryan and Claire is that she is still giving him sexual pleasure. That's weird to me. Yes, it makes no sense. Like, they're doing everything but having sex. Well, it sounds like he's also not returning the favor, for favors, and I feel like if he was reciprocating at least a little bit in the bedroom, that she would have a little bit more patience with him on the sex front. But, it sounds like it's just Clara giving. Clara is the one who's getting Ryan off every night. It's not Ryan getting Clara off, and she's getting frustrated. And if you're in that situation where the everything sexual is very much one-way street, of course you'd be unhappy. It needs to be fair. It needs to be equal. It needs to be something both partners are comfortable with. And it sounds like they're in a situation where neither of them is comfortable with that situation right now. All right, everybody. I think that is going to wrap things up for me tonight. I'm not even sure how long we did this live stream for us. I was kind of rambling away there, just like Ryan talking about trust. So yeah, maybe I'm no better than Ryan when it comes to rambling. But as always, thank you so much for watching. It looks like we've got 6 viewers here, which is very good for me. I really appreciate everybody watching. So I'll probably try to do some more content on Married at First Sight this week. I don't know what it will be yet. We'll just have to wait and see. But as always, one more thing before I go. There was a commercial tonight for a new show, Married at First Sight, Unmatchables. And it looked awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it looked awesome. Like, it gave me almost a very, very slight Love on the Spectrum vibe. Not totally Love on the Spectrum. If you haven't watched it, it's on Netflix. Absolutely fantastic show. But taking the people who just can't find a match, are maybe socially awkward, never been kissed, whatever their story is, and try to find a match for them. I love the idea of the show. It looked like we at least had Pastor Cal and Dr. Viviana as part of it, and I'm very interested to watch it. I think he said April 21st that comes out, so probably the week after Married at First Sight ends, and I will definitely be checking out the first episode and probably doing a video or two on it if it is interesting. One last comment before I go. Exactly, he's not reciprocating. That's very backwards. His relationship with sex needs to be discussed with a therapist or something. And even on top of that, like, they did the tantric yoga, and you could just tell it didn't work for either of them. They tried to do something, but they need to straight up, because I think Dr. Viviana is a sex therapist. Like, that's what she specializes in. And I think she needs to meet one-on-one with Ryan. She needs to meet one-on-one with Clara. She needs to meet with both of them just to talk about sex, and that would help. But as we've seen this season, the experts are MIA. All right, I said I was wrapping things up before, but I'm serious this time. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next week, we'll see you later, everybody.